It's your presence that makes this event a special event. I'm going to do an advertisement. The advertisement is tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock, right here in Town Hall. It's the quarterly Regency Oaks Resident Organization meeting with the residents. So, how about showing up back here tomorrow at 10, huh? And we'll have a good session with each of the board members, giving you an update on what they're concerned about and what they think you should know. So with that, put it on your calendar, 10 o'clock tomorrow morning here in Town Hall. Thank you.
So our spotlight this morning, Mary, I'm going to turn it over to you and find a microphone for you.
Okay. I am Mary Hager. I think most of you know me. Whoops, sorry. I thought my voice was loud enough. So good morning. I am Mary Hager. I have lived here at Regency Oaks for a little over 8.5 years. I've seen the good days and the bad days, and trust me, we're in the good days. But I'm here to introduce you to a new activity called Swap Shopping. Swap Shopping. Don't try and say it after you drink any wine. This will be a new activity which is going to start on Friday, August the 6th. And I thought of this because, like many of you here, I have gained weight during this COVID pandemic. The problem is my closet is now too full of old clothes, but are clean, lovely clothes, but I cannot wear them. So I came up with the idea that we will start this program of sharing our clothing. So come to the Breezeway on Friday, April the 6th. Oh yeah, let's try August. Anytime between 8 a.m. and 2 p.m. Hang the clothing on one of the hanging racks that will be there. And then other people can come, and if they see something they like, they can just take it. There is no money involved. More importantly, there's no clerk involved. But this is a great way to share what we have with ourselves and our associates. I'm encouraging everyone to come and hang your old clothing, but please make it the nicer clothing that you can't wear. We don't want things that are all stained. So this will last from, as I said, from 8 in the morning until 2 in the afternoon on Friday, August the 6th. And any remaining clothes that are left after 2 o'clock, we're going to box up, and they're going to be given to the Safety Harbor Sheriff's Youth Ranch the next day, Saturday, August the 7th. So hopefully we can get some of the clothing out of our closets and into someone else's. Thank you.
Hello. Yes. Come on up here.
I thought maybe there was another Peggy.
So, how many of you have noticed the refresh of the South Lobby? How about a big round of applause? So, here's our miracle worker. We gave Peggy a challenge, and her committee really rose to the occasion. I said, I want a whole fresh new look, but I don't have any money to spend. And so you did a great job on truly what was a shoestring budget, and it looks fantastic. So thank you so much, and tell us a little bit about the highlights.
Yeah, well, I just want to thank the people, not me. I was just headed with the whip, get with it. But we have wonderful committee members. Edie James, Linda Newton, Johanna, I don't think Johanna's here. Johanna has put the finishing touches. If you look at the trash can that was there, that was the old green can, well, now it's a beautiful trash can. It's all decorated with vines, etc. And I cannot thank Tom Chestnut, Ron Carter, and who's the other one?
Charles was a supervisor.
Who?
Your husband.
Oh, well, he just supervised. We have a lot of supervisors too, but there were people who came by and gave ideas, and I really appreciate that because we were kind of stuck sometimes. I also want to say that Leaders Casual Furniture, if you've ever been there, it's wonderful. And they were so appreciative of everything that we did. And I appreciated them for getting things out. We have one more thing that needs to be done, and that's the shutters. And when we get those, we will hopefully be finished. And we have one. You know what we can do with one shutter? Well, I got it. And so thank you all for comments. And it wasn't me, it was you. You guys gave us ideas and inspirations. And so I just thank you so much.
Unfortunately, we're going to have to do a COVID update. The things are changing and heating up. You're probably aware of that and have been following it. So we're going to get set up over here on the side and give you a COVID update. All right. First slide. So unfortunately, a little bit earlier or later this morning, we are getting ready to send out a call 'em all to all the residents and staff, but we've had 2 residents over in the Independent Living South building who have tested positive for COVID. And actually, this is a husband and wife. One has tested positive and the other is symptomatic. The unusual or surprising thing about it is that both of these residents had been vaccinated as part of our vaccination program. They started showing symptoms just as we have been preaching for over a year. They were incredibly smart about it. They tested, they got early intervention. Both of them are doing well, and they are back at Regency Oaks. They followed all of the protocols. They notified us timely. They started self-isolating as soon as symptoms appeared. And so they did everything the way they were trained to do it. They did a great job. Our contact tracing is underway. If there were a few other direct exposures, and notification is in the process of going out to those individuals. So if you were directly exposed and we discovered it through our contact tracing, that notification is forthcoming. We have no other residents or staff who are showing symptoms at this time. So this seemed to me like a great opportunity for us to come back and revisit what's going on with COVID. We had gone nearly 28 weeks without a positive COVID case in our building. And so on this occasion, it's time to reopen the books and go in and take a look. There is a fourth wave, what they have identified as a fourth wave. Many people believe that it is being fueled by the variant, the COVID variant, but that does not seem to be the case, at least at looking at the data and the statistics that I'm following. This just seems to be the same old COVID, and it may be a revised or new edition, but it does not, they have not been able to identify this as the British or the D variant that people are so concerned about. Next slide. So we're going to take a look at the weekly situation. This is data from, oh, this is the one that doesn't work. All right, hold on. So the pointer doesn't work on a real TV, so I have to come over here. Tiffany can stay right there. I'll sort of talk from over here. Here's the weekly situation, and this report is dated for July 15th, but we're actually looking at case data from the week before. This is from July 9th. And you can see that in the state of Florida, our cumulative new case positivity is about 17%. The majority of that occurred during the early stages of COVID, when we were seeing further outbreaks. 3 weeks ago, that was at 15%. So you can see it has not gone up that significantly, but when you think about what's happened over 3 weeks and compare it to what had happened over the previous 70 weeks, then you can see that it's pretty significant. A couple of things that I thought were interesting. We are still lagging behind on second doses, and I don't know why that is, but many people who received the first dose decided not to receive the second dose. That continues to be a problem not only in Florida but across the United States. You can see with the age group of 65 plus right down here at the bottom, we have an 84% vaccination rate among those individuals over the age of 65 in Florida. This is a very high number. Here at Regency Oaks, we're at about 97%. So 3% of our residents here at Regency Oaks have elected not to get vaccinated, while the vast majority of our residents have been vaccinated. Look at this interesting statistic right here. The older you are, the more likely you are to get vaccinated, and that's probably because you recognize that you're at a higher risk. And so where we're struggling to get up to that 70% benchmark, which is herd immunity, right now we're at 59% here in Florida amongst all age groups, and where we're struggling are in these younger age groups. You can understand why the 12 to 19-year-olds are not getting vaccinated. That makes really good sense. Can you not hear?
Cutting in and out.
Cutting in and out. Try scoot in just a little bit and see if you can get inside the hearing loop and see if that helps. Maybe you're just on the outskirts. So you can understand why the young adults are choosing not to get vaccinated. When you talk about we don't know the long-term consequences. Long-term for us is a lot shorter than it is for an 18-year-old. So, you know, I've got 12 grandkids, and none of them have been vaccinated, except for my two oldest, who are 24 and 25. And so when you're under the age of 18, it probably makes a lot of sense not to get vaccinated. But this is where the slack is in the system. Next slide, please. So new cases over the past 10 weeks, and I sort of think I'm done with the pointer, so I'll get out of everyone's way and come back over here. Here's the thing to note. New cases past 10 weeks. You can see it was declining. Then there was a gentle rise. Look what happened in the week of 7-9. In 1 week, we doubled the number of new COVID cases in the state of Florida. We jumped from 23,000 to 45,000 new cases in Florida. That's the largest increase we've seen since May of last year at the start of the pandemic. New case positivity for the past 10 weeks, 11.5% is the positivity rate here in the state of Florida. That's really, really high. You'll recall that 3 weeks ago here at Regency Oaks, or in Pinellas County where Regency Oaks is located, our positivity rate was down in the 3s. And so this is a pretty significant change in terms of positivity rates. Next slide. So here's the vaccination impact, and this is sort of interesting to see. You look at the dark purple lines, and that's the number of people who have been vaccinated. Go all the way back to where it started in January of 21. You can see there was a good steady growth all the way up through the end of March, and then starting in April, we've just sort of gotten stagnant. And so a lot of people are saying, well, as many people as have chosen to get the vaccine have gotten the vaccine, and that we're not going to be able to get higher. But we're sitting at only 58% of Floridians who are vaccinated, and that's really short of where we need to be for herd immunity. Now look at the green line. That's the number of new cases, and you can see it was steadily climbing up until the vaccine started that first week of January. Instantly, we saw a decrease in the number of people who were reporting at hospital with COVID. That continued to decline. We get over into April, May, and June. It's pretty stagnant. And then just over the course of the last 2 weeks, we've seen a pretty steady uptick in the number of new cases. That is true for Pinellas County. It is true also for the state of Florida. And that's the data we're looking at here. Next slide. Here's the current situation in Pinellas County. So the first number we're going to take a look at is our vaccination percentage is at 58%. You'll remember for the state of Florida, we're at 59%. So Pinellas County is tracking right along with the state at about 58%. The other number we should look at is new case positivity in Pinellas County, and that's for this week is 9.2 as opposed to the state of Florida, which was over 11%, although that data was from last week. So it's not a true apples to apples comparison. Positivity rate in Pinellas County last week was down in the 7s, but we had a 2% increase during this week of July 9th through the 15th. Next slide. So in the United States, we've been looking at Florida data and Pinellas County data. Here's what's happened in the United States. Daily cases have increased by 49.1% in just 1 week. The new daily reported deaths have risen by 4.3%, and hospitalizations are up 29.3%. Two of our major hospitals that we refer to here in Pinellas County are on what we call deferral, which means they will not accept new residents or new patients because they're either full or they have so many COVID residents that they don't have adequate beds for non-COVID issues. And so hospitalizations is becoming a problem. And so don't get sick right now. Let's do that in a later time. And then talk, if you have an elective surgery coming up, one of the things that your doctor may want to talk to you about, or you might want to talk to your physician about, is elective surgery, so you have the opportunity to reschedule at a later date. Next slide. Here's an article out of paper, and I forget whether it was last Wednesday or Thursday. Tampa General's COVID-19 hospitalization has tripled amid a nationwide spike. Now, this is in orange. I thought this was really important because, and I wanted to underline and highlight this. Right now, more than 90% of the admitted patients are unvaccinated, 90% unvaccinated, and 99% of the deaths have been in the unvaccinated age group. The Delta variant is panning out. If you are vaccinated, you will get a head cold. If you are not vaccinated, then you go through the whole thing of lung disease, ventilator, and it's really heartbreaking. That's from a treating physician. And so, just as we've said for months, if you're vaccinated and you get COVID, it won't kill you. You're going to have symptoms, you're going to have a headache, you're going to have flu-like symptoms, you're not going to be comfortable, but you also are not going to die. And that's what the vaccine does, is it prevents you from having severe symptoms, and you will only incur mild symptoms. That's the advantage of having the vaccine. Here's something else that was later on in that same article that I thought was sort of interesting. The White House has said 1 in 5 new coronavirus cases are occurring in Florida. So 20% of all new cases out of 50 states, they're occurring here in Florida. So our trend line is something that we're a little anxious about. Okay, so let's summarize this and try to take some positives out of this and what we can walk away with and make us feel a little bit more comfortable. So we know, and we've always said, you can get COVID even if you're vaccinated. Being vaccinated will not prevent you from getting COVID. What it does is it prevents you from getting really sick or dying, and you will have head cold symptoms, flu-like symptoms, as opposed to more severe symptoms that require hospitalization, oxygen, ventilation, and so that's the advantage of being vaccinated. You can spread the virus even if you are vaccinated. And so that's one of the rumors we need to knock down. People believe that if I've been vaccinated, I don't need to worry. I can't catch it and I can't spread it. And that is not true. And so you can be a carrier of COVID even if you're vaccinated. So just let's make sure we remember that. Time over target is important. This is a military term, but here's what it means. The exposures are not all equal. And so if you are riding up in an elevator, you get on the first floor, you're going to go up to the 3rd floor, and you're riding in an elevator, and the couple that you're riding with are both positive, and they're both nuclear, they're spreading the virus intently right there in that elevator, you will not catch COVID. Because your exposure, the length of your exposure, even though they might have been at the prime shedding stage, your length of exposure is not long enough to cause a problem. Time over target is what causes the problem. If you are with an exposed positive COVID resident for an extended period of time, you go to the theater together and you watch a performance and the two of you are sitting right there next to each other for 2.5 hours, that is a potential exposure that we want that you need to avoid and you need to be aware of. And so it's the type of exposure that is really important in trying to determine your risk to a COVID exposure. Short risks tend not to be very harmful. What about the booster? A lot of folks have probably been reading the articles of, Pfizer and Moderna say they want to give a booster. They want authorization under the emergency use protocol to do a 3rd shot and to boost everyone's immune system for the virus. They have not been able to get the scientists or the CDC or the Federal Drug Administration to sign off on that and support. There are probably a lot of reasons. One is a cost factor. Two is they don't have adequate supply of vaccine to go back and do that. But there's also a belief by the CDC is that that third booster shot is not needed. And so all along, that's what they had been telling us when we got our shots back in January. They said, you're good to go, you're not going to need a booster. And so there is a lot of discussion out there about a booster being required, but there's not a lot of scientific evidence to support that, and that's why the CDC at this time is not recommending it. If we get to that point, and remember we've talked about later in the fall, very late fall, there may be a new vaccine. It will become just like your flu shot. You'll get your flu shot in September and October, November, December, you'll get your COVID shot, but it's going to be driven not by the fact that your existing vaccination is wearing down. It's going to be driven by the fact that there are variants and it has mutated over the course of the year since you received your last vaccine. So that still continues to be what I read and appears to be the most prevalent thought process is how this is going to play out. What can I do? It's the same old stuff we've been practicing, and it should be second nature to you. Wash your hands frequently, wear a mask when you're in public, particularly if you are out amongst people you don't know. I'm still very comfortable with residents here at Regency Oaks not wearing a mask, but if you're going to go out and attend a large event and that your time over target is more than a few minutes, you're going to be exposed for an extended period of time, wear a mask. If you are ill, stay home. That keeps you from spreading it because you can be contagious. So if you are ill, stay home. Don't be around others if you are showing symptoms. And so if you're coughing, sneezing, have a sore throat, seek early medical intervention, stay at home, follow your physician's orders, let Leslie or Marie know so that we can get you early medical intervention, because that can be the difference in how problematic the symptoms become. And I think that's it. All right, and so let's open it up.
Socialize together.
So we did do the complete contact tracing, and again, these residents followed the protocol exactly right. I'm so proud of them. As soon as they became symptomatic, they started self-isolating, and so we would have the earlier exposures were to very specific individuals. Those individuals have been contacted or are in the process of being contacted. But if you had been one of those individuals in the original exposure, we're now 5 days post-exposure. And as you'll recall from our bar graph of when you can expect to be contagious and virtual shedding starts, it's in day 3. If you're not shedding or symptomatic by day 5, you're not going to get exposed. And so anyone who was exposed has been contacted, or we are in the process of doing that. We also will offer anyone who is exposed a rapid test.
Did the two hang out together?
They were married.
They were married. They were married.
Oh, okay.
Yes, they liked one another. He's coming on the mic.
You speak about protocol. Would you like to explain what the protocol is?
So it goes back. We sort of finished up with the protocol. That was the key points of the protocol. It's maintain good social distancing, wash your hands frequently. If you are sick, stay in your apartment. Don't expose yourself to others who are coughing or symptomatic. seek early medical intervention. So those are the key protocols. And then on our side, from a staff perspective, we continue to require every single one of our staff members to submit to the questionnaires on a daily basis, and they also must take their temperatures. We encourage every resident to do that. The AccuShield system is designed for every resident to be able to do that. You don't need to use our system. You can do it at home, but we still recommend the very best means of showing positive COVID is a gradual increase in temperature over 3 consecutive days of not more than 0.2% growth over each consecutive day. That continues to be the hallmark tool to diagnose and assure an accurate diagnosis.
After all that is done, supposing you get COVID, my question was, who would you report it to? And you have to go and get tested first. And then if you're positive you have COVID, you report it to?
Yeah, so it's actually a little backwards. Here's what you should do. If you think you have COVID and you have symptoms, and Leslie is here, if it's Monday through Friday and we're here, somebody is able to respond, call us. We'll come up and rapid test you right there on the spot. You don't have to leave your apartment. You don't have to go to your doctor's. We will immediately rapid test you and let you know what the results are. If it happens on a weekend, or if it's positive, we do the rapid test and it's positive, then we will set an appointment with your local physician. We'll send you to the emergency room to be tested and prescribed there. They're going to do a oxygen saturation. They're going to do the temperature test. They're going to do a blood draw so that they can come up with a treatment regimen. But start with us, then we will assist you in notifying your physician, getting you medical attention either in the hospital or your physician's office. Physicians have different practices. Some physicians don't want COVID positive patients in their building because it exposes others, and they want you to go directly to the ER where they have isolation protocols in place and can better treat you. But start with us.
What about a weekend?
So on the weekends, we don't have our teledoc system up and running. That is something that we've invested in, and it's something that we will have up and running in the next 30 to 60 days. It's going to be a great new addition to our service package. But if it happens on a weekend, go call your physician and follow his direction. He will probably send you to an emergency room to be tested. Again, they have the isolation protocols in place, and they're the best suited to take your temperature and evaluate your condition.
Other questions?
All right. Okay. All right, next up is we'll speak about this real quickly. We have a vaccine clinic that is for your flu shot. And remember, you can get this anywhere you want. You can go to your pharmacy, you can go to your physician's office, or you can attend one of our vaccine clinics. We have ours set for September 29th at 11 a.m. and Renee will put these dates and times in the Tuesday Talk memorandum. And that's the first of our clinics. We will do several, just as we have done in the past, but the first one is September 29th. And you may recall that we bill your insurance, third-party insurance, or Medicare, however it is that you're going to pay. There's no out-of-pocket expense. We do it as a convenience service. And so look for the sign-up sheet with all the detailed information. That is going out this week. And no matter where you get your vaccine, what we would ask each of you to do is to report back to the front desk that you've been vaccinated, whether you got it here, whether you got it at your physician's office, or you got it somewhere else, like at your pharmacy, so that we can keep track of who's vaccinated and who isn't. Just like with COVID, we're looking to achieve herd immunity. We want to have 70-75% of our residents who have had the flu vaccine, because that helps to protect all of us. And so if you would, just please be sure to let us know that. We are getting ready to launch what's called the J.D. Powers Customer Satisfaction Survey. LCS has ranked number 1 in the senior housing industry for each of the past 2 years. J.D. Powers is a third-party independent research company, and they interview and rank various businesses, insurance companies, automobile rental companies, a lot of different companies. And so LCS is going to participate again this year in the process. It opens July 20th and it runs through the end of September. It's going to all of the 100+ LCS communities. It is a telephone survey and it is random. It means that none of you may be included or 20 of you may be included. The telephone numbers are provided to J.D. Powers, and then they are selected at random. If you are on our do not call list, you will not be participating. You will not have the opportunity to participate in the survey. We have no idea, because it is a third party outside of LCS, we have no idea who will be included and who will not be included. But I wanted to bring it up so that if you should get a phone call from J.D. Powers, you'll at least have some recognition. Oh yeah, Brent talked about that, and you can choose to participate or not. This is different than the LCS annual resident satisfaction survey, which is also getting ready to start, and that's going to roll out in the month of August. Now, we'll have more information on that in the coming weeks, but for right now, it's the J.D. Powers that is starting the 20th of July, and many of you, or some of you, may get a phone call.
That's today.
There you go. It's a timely announcement.
How does it come across on caller IDs? Because it might be a scam or a spam risk? Or?
It probably is not going to come across. I mean, that would be my guess. It's a data house that's going to be doing the survey, and so it's probably not going to have an identifier. It does not say that, but yeah. Then that would be my recommendation. If you routinely do not answer your phone unless it's a number you recognize, just disregard it.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So, innovative home services. Christine asked me to remind you that she has another trinket sale or estate sale coming up. It's Thursday, July 22nd. It's apartment N104 in the South Building, and it's 9 to 12:30. And she says there's glassware, trinkets, kitchen items, furniture, and more. So that's Thursday. Don talked about the quarterly. Soap dispensers as part of our EverSafe program, which is the initiative launched by LCS to help make sure that our buildings are environmentally friendly. We have started the installation of the soapless or the contactless soap dispensers. So in our public restrooms, you should start to see that. We've also changed the soap. Instead of using a sanitizing soap. We are using antibody-based disinfecting soap, and so it's just a continual improvement to help keep residents safe, so that when you're washing your hands, it's one less exposure that you will have. School supplies, that is closing tomorrow, and we have a pretty good collection going. Thank you for your generosity. If you want to continue to do that, it's closing tomorrow, so this will be the last day. D and our Aqua class is back this Friday, so it'll be good to welcome her back to the community, and I know that was a really popular program. And then Tiffany asked me to remind you that Carla Hines, she's been here before, although this is the first time since the pandemic. She sings 40s and 50s songs, and she is in the Grand Lobby South this Friday at 7 p.m. All right. I think that is all.
Can you give us an update on channel 732?
So it should be running, isn't it? Yeah. Oh yeah. So yeah, the 732, which was the whole thing, was down 2 weeks ago, and 2 weeks ago Friday we got it up and running again. The movie component does not work. It does not work here. It does not work at any senior living community in the United States. It's a nationwide problem. They do not have a workaround, and it's frustrating. And they have no time frame as to when they think they're going to be able to get it corrected. They just tell me soon. I know it's frustrating. Hopefully, they know what an issue it is. Hopefully, they're going to do something. But I don't have an update, unfortunately.
Are we doing a rebroadcast?
We're going to try this week. The sound wasn't working last week, so we're going to try a rebroadcast.
As well as the YouTube one?
Correct.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
What was that?
So the 732, we are going to rebroadcast this on 732. Last week, the sound evidently wasn't working, and so it was only available on YouTube. And so this week, we're going to attempt a rebroadcast, and we're hoping that the sound is going to be there as well.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate you coming out.
Don't forget,